Today we're in Lindsborg, Kansas, and it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. And I'm here with Brent. Brent's here. So we're going to learn about the history of Lindsborg. Maybe we'll meet some locals, who knows. But yeah, let's walk down the main street. It's got a cool main street, a lot of historic buildings. Check that out and tell you the history and then show you around the rest of town. As we start our walk down the main street area, there are lots of buildings. This is a bigger town than I would normally profile, so there are a lot more buildings and a lot more going on than the smaller towns usually found on this channel. But Lindsborg, Kansas is located in McPherson County, which is in the central part of Kansas. Lindsborg's in the northern part of the county and is the second largest town behind the county seat of McPherson. It's known as Little Sweden. It was founded in 1869 by a group of Swedish immigrants led by Pastor Olof Olsson. These settlers came from the Värmland province of Sweden, seeking economic opportunity and religious freedom. They chose this region of Kansas for its fertile farmland. The town was established with a focus on agriculture, education, and religion. Lindsborg translates as Linden Castle from Swedish to English, and referring to a tree name known in Europe. The community is named for four men whose surnames include L-I-N-D, Lind, who had prominent positions in the Chicago organization of Swedish farmers. Early settlers built homes, churches, and schools, with the Bethany Lutheran Church being a central institution in the community. In 1881, Bethany College was founded to provide higher education, particularly for Swedish immigrants and their descendants. The town has always maintained strong ties to Swedish traditions. Celebrations such as the Midsummer Festival and others were established to preserve the Swedish heritage. These events include music, dance, and traditional crafts. Agriculture has always played a key role in the economy here. Wheat farming, the primary industry, with farmers using modern techniques to increase productivity, and over time other businesses developed, including milling operations and retail establishments. In the early 1900s, Lindsborg experienced a good amount of growth. So they had infrastructure improvements with paved roads and transportation links connecting to larger towns and markets. The population increased as more families settled in the area. There was a lot of economic stability and educational opportunities. World War I and World War II impacted the town. Many residents served in the military, but after the wars, people came back to town and the town continued to grow. In the latter half of the 20th century, the town focused more on historic preservation, as you'll see a lot of that as you're walking around town, and we'll see more later in the video. Efforts were made to maintain the Swedish cultural heritage through museums, art galleries, public events. Tourism has become an important part of the local economy. Right there in front of us, you see the Dala horse. You see a lot of these around town. It's a traditional hand-carved, painted wooden horse originating from the Dalarna region of Sweden. It's a beloved symbol of Swedish culture. There are probably 100 of these around the town. They seem to be in almost every square of the town, so it's definitely pretty interesting. And there's actually a store you can right here down the main street that you can purchase these. The town has also attracted scholars interested in Scandinavian heritage, and while farming is still important, the town is a little more diversified these days, with education, arts, and tourism all playing roles in supporting the town. As we look at the population figures, it grew steadily, like I talked about, and since 1940, there's only been one census where the population went down there in 1990. Other than that, it has continued to grow up to 3,776. It's a really nice community. I'm guessing the town will continue to grow into the future. Next, we're going to go over to Heritage Square, and there's about a dozen or so buildings here. Some of them are, authentic buildings from the late 1800s. Some of them aren't. They're more, just to show what it would have been like, and it makes it look like a little, square of a town. And a lot of things to see here, pretty interesting. It's kind of part of the whole museum area that I'll show you in a minute. As you walk in here and through the stables, you'll see all kinds of historical farming equipment. You walk down this hall, there's like a general store, a bank, and all kinds of different things to see. And it's just, part of this outdoor heritage area. SV, when it says like the SV Fire Department, that's Smoky Valley, because we're in the Smoky Valley region. And the Swedish heritage is prominent throughout. This was a building used at the World's Fair in 1904 that ended up finding its way back here over to Lindsborg. So, pretty interesting little piece of history there. And there's, this is an authentic building of the Lindsborg train depot. And when you go inside, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can see, pictures and historical, tellings of what happened. It's the best way to put it. So there's articles and advertisements like that, and then one of the trains out there in the back. So obviously this wasn't exactly where it's located. They moved all this into one central area to make it easy for tourists to come and see all the different things. So this is pretty interesting. This building here says Swedish. It was the first courthouse. And this town, I guess you'd call it, was the first county seat for a very short period of time, obviously named after Sweden. And so this was the first courthouse, and then it became Lindsborg pretty quickly after that, maybe a year after it started, around 1870, 1871. But there's a lot of great history about that town and about a bunch of old towns and the different townships in McPherson County. So this was a really cool place for me to check out. Across the street is the Old Mill Museum. And so this museum has all kinds of different things in it. When you walk in, there's obviously the strong wheat farming history is important, and they tell all about that. And they talk about the mills and the history of the mills as we're on the Smoky Hill River, basically in Lindsborg, different products that were produced from the mill, from the different mills. This was a great map of McPherson County, and what I loved, they have little dots like old post offices that no longer exist. And so if I was going to go do some ghost town hunting, that would be a place I would want to start and get a copy of that map. You see another dollar horse there. And this is the Smoky Valley Roller Mills. This was definitely a very interesting thing to check out. It was constructed in 1898, and it was a flour mill that operated until 1955, and you saw some of the products that they were distributing nationwide earlier there. It's a rare example of a functioning roller mill from that era. And this comes to life annually during what's called Mill Fest, held on the first weekend of May every year. So that's really cool. So you can see the mill there, and you see where the river is. So you can walk kind of behind, and that's you can kind of get a feeling for how close everything was and importance of the river. This old mill bridge was built in 1914, and it's just down the river, and across the way you can see where the mill was located. We're going to go a few miles away from Lindsborg to check out the Coronado Heights Castle, and that is Lindsborg across the way. So we're about 4 miles northwest of town, and this is the Coronado Heights Castle, historic stone structure out here. It's named after the Spanish explorer Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, who, according to local legend, may have traveled through the area in the 1540s while searching for the fabled 7 cities of gold. Though there's no concrete evidence that Coronado actually set foot on this hill, the site has been associated with his expedition. It's pretty cool to walk in and check out. It's free to the public, and you can go in here anytime and wander around. It is built in 1936 by the Works Progress Administration, WPA. It was built from native Dakota sandstone. The castle was designed to resemble a medieval fortress with the stone walls and arched windows. The project was part of a nationwide effort at the time to provide employment and enhance local communities with recreational spaces around that Great Depression era. Today it's a popular tourist attraction. There were several cars and people hanging out. It offers really nice views of the Smoky Hills and the surrounding prairie. Besides visiting the castle, there are a lot of nearby trails you can hike, or you can just kind of hang out and enjoy the view while having a picnic. It's definitely a unique piece of Kansas history. Just at the bottom of the hill near the entrance to the Coronado Heights Castle is the Smoky Hill Cemetery. It says 1887 on the sign, so for you fans of old cemeteries, might be something to check out as well. Just south of the castle is the Haugen Dugout. It's a 6-foot by 12-foot pit dug into the ground, and this was the home of Gustav and Maria Haugen for 2 years in the late 1880s while they constructed their larger home. So a shanty was built up and around the hole, and they even delivered their kids in this, quote, home. Can you imagine living in this for 2 years? I actually stayed in Lindsborg overnight, and I stayed here at the Coronado Hotel, and I thought that was appropriate with visiting the castle. About $90 to stay here. There are some other places to stay in Lindsborg. There's some nice Airbnbs, but this is what one of the local hotels looks like if you're interested in staying the night. What do you think?
Not too bad. Well, like I said, I used to live down the street, and I would stumble home from this place pretty much every Thursday, a lot of Fridays, and most Saturdays. But I've seen probably 15,000 different bars, and this is still my favorite. Mary Jo had auburn hair, dark green eyes. She was dating the quarterback, he stood 6'5". Like strawberry wine, 17. I'm much too young to feel this damn old.
There is Lindsborg way over the way. Big moon tonight. I'm back at the castle. Obviously, there is no one here. It is very creepy. really be mad if somebody was hiding up here and jumped out at me. Okay, I'm gonna hustle out of here. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit about some of the extras that we have on the channel. One of the things you can do is you can become a member. There's 3 levels. There's the supporter level, there's the producer level, and the executive producer level. And all 3 levels have different perks, and as you are more supportive financially, there's more perks. We have extra videos every week and a lot of fun stuff going on in the member section. If you haven't done so, make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. We've got lots of extra stuff on there, and one of the things is merchandise. You can get you Travel with a Wise Guy t-shirt. We have Death Go Round t-shirts. We have some coffee mugs, different things that are a lot of fun, and people seem to have enjoyed. Good quality there. Also on the website, you can do things like check out the Google map. I have a pin dropped in every place I've done videos about, then a link to the video so you can look at the map, and maybe there's somewhere where you live or somewhere you want to go. You can check out that map, and it seemed to be a very popular thing. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do that about every 3 weeks. It's totally free. And there's also all kinds of other links and tidbits in there, old videos, podcasts, just everything I could think of I throw on the website. So make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. So is this the exit or the entrance?